All right, folks. The battle is over. And in fact, over too soon. We only played to turn 2. My opponent had to leave, so that's your warning about this battle report. It's not really even a report, but I thought since I took all the footage, I may as well finish it up. But I have to say this is a very interesting matchup, Grey Knights versus Tyranids. Really scary for both sides because both have things that can really kind of push the other person over the edge. So I'm looking forward to the rematch, and I hope you enjoy the setup at least. So there you go. Hey, Blue Table fans! We're diving in today. We're diving in to a 40K bat rep. It's been pretty much 40K all the time, and that always won't. Oh boy. Hey, Blue Table fans! It's time for a 40K bat rep. We've been doing a lot of those recently. Just so you know, we do plan on doing other systems. In fact, here is a War Machine battle report in progress right here. Don't know who's playing that. It does say no touchy, turn 3. So I'm here with Rob, and he is a satisfied customer of Blue Table Painting. We just did his Grey Knights, so we're very excited about that. And I am versusing him with the Fungus Nids. That's right. You can itch and itch, but you won't get rid of the fungus. And so you may know that the original set of Fungus Nids, half of those sold. And but now they're back. Now they're back not only to the original size, but time and a half that size. We're well underway to having 120 Ormagants in there. So Rob's already made his army list, right, Rob? Yep. Fantastic. So no takesies, backsies. So let's talk about what's in the Fungus Nids list here. I have, yes, and you'll have to look at my ugly mug. Well, no, let's look in here. And some of these are a bit jumbled, but that's okay. They're matte coated real nice. So 2 Tervagons right here. And I might note that those are Psychers. And when I'm thinking about this, because I spent some time reading the Grey Knights Codex, thinking, well, what could be coming my way? I was tempted to go over to Rob's project and see exactly what he would have in his army list. But that almost doesn't matter because a lot of different things can be given different equipment. So, there's a variation there. And so, anyway, Grey Knights are bad. Grey Knights are bad news. And here's why. Because if I take big creatures, all of them have Nemesis force weapons and can kill them in one shot. And that's how a force weapon works. Is if you take a wound from a force weapon, and the bearer of the force weapon, or the unit in this case, makes a successful psychic test, then guess what? Kablam, instant death. So that's bad. And, yeah, groan. And, but then there's the Purifiers. Purifiers are bad news because of Cleansing Flame. It's a psychic power used at the beginning of the assault phase. So let's say a unit of 30 Ormagants charges a unit of 5 Purifiers. And by the way, this would be same for like Orc Boys or whatever. So the unit of Purifiers make a psychic test on the leader's leadership of 9, so very likely to pass. And that means on a 4+, you roll a dice for every model in the unit, and on a 4+, they take a wound. So on average, 15 Ormagants die in the initial wave of fire. They just wipe out 15, and this is before any blows are struck. And oh, but wait, it gets better. So 15, and then you take armor saves, so like 13 of them are going to die. And maybe 12. Let's just say 12. But guess what? That 12 counts towards combat resolution. So that means highly likely the Ormagants are going to lose the combat unless they kill the Purifiers to a man. And that means at the end they have to take, what's that called? The saves for Fearless. Which means they, so they're probably going to take another 10 casualties. So basically, 30 Ormagants lose to 5 Purifiers. And it's just, everything's just a bad combination for Tyranids versus Grey Knights. But Never fear, Tyranids. There's only one way to play them. Actually, there's lots of ways to play them. But the way I'm playing them is what I call the press, which is you just put so many bodies on the field that you're going to overwhelm your foe. And that's where I think things might be balanced, is because of the small numbers of the Grey Knights. And I have to say, like in the case of the Purifiers, the Grey Knights did need that. Purifiers are the thing that keeps Grey Knights from just being overwhelmed by massed infantry armies. So, let's take a look at what's in Rob's army.
Using some of the new stuff that I picked up. Sean was nice enough to do an add-on.
Today is Christmas.
Yes, today is Christmas. Literally new toys for my Grey Knights.
That's right.
So I'm going to try out some new units I haven't used yet in the decks. I've got a full unit of Purifiers.
Ah, there they are.
Yep, we knew they were
Stupid
coming.
Purifiers.
We knew when we were going to fight the hordes of the Nids that we needed something to burn them down. So we're running a couple Demon Hammers in there, just in case somebody decided to bring some monstrous creatures and we need to smack them around.
Okay.
They're going to be mounted up in a Rhino with the pintle-mounted Storm Bolters, and actually, little plug for Blue Table, but this is actually probably one of my favorite styles of Rhinos I've seen. They did these as converted Rhino and Razorbacks, and it was really tempting to try and run the Razorbacks on this list, but couldn't fit the points in, so instead I'm running them as Rhinos. They look great. We've got a unit of regular Grey Knights, a couple Psy Cannons in there, most of them armed with just the standard weaponry. A couple Demon Hammers in there as well, again just for those monstrous creatures. We've got a Venerable Dreadnought running with a Heavy Flamer and a Plasma Cannon, just for fun. New unit, thought I'd try him out. Okay. And then of course we can't have a Grey Knight's army without a Dread Knight.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's the gun?
The guns we're using are just anti-infantry horde weapons. We're using a silencer, the Gatling silencer, and we're using a heavy incinerator.
So that's bad news for Ormagants.
Yes.
Because they can't kill him. Okay, go ahead.
And then just bring in the Greatsword just in case he had to tussle with some big guys.
Sounds good.
Decided to bring Land Raider Redeemer today. Running our Grandmaster in there. He is, where did he go? He's right here with his Incinerator and a Halberd. He's surrounded by his bodyguard. These are not Paladins, these are just regular Terminators with some Falchions, Brotherhood Banner, and a Demon Hammer. In case anybody's wondering, these were actually the same squad. We're going to combat attach them out and do that. Our other HQ choice is over here. It's a Librarian. Yes, I know it's a Stern model, but I think he makes a good looking Librarian.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic. Okay.
Just equipped, got a few Force Powers, running Shrouding, Might of Titan, Warp Rift, and one more. Sanctuary.
Well, I guess I'll have to be surprised. I don't know what any of those do.
And then he's got some bodyguard there with an Incinerator, and then just a guy with a Halberd, Demon Hammer, and then a couple Falchions.
Right.
And they're going to be mounted up in our Storm Raven, which is equipped as follows: a couple Plasma Cannons, some
Heavy Bolters? Is that what
Heavy Bolters, yeah, decided to go on the cheap. Heavy Bolters and Side Sponsons. This one's not using Side Bolt ammo, so at least I can fire the weapons.
Okay.
And then these bad boys here, I thought I'd try one of the new Interceptor squads. Haven't used them yet. Very basic.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, very basic.
What's the psychic power on the Interceptor squads?
I got to remember here. I think it's the same as the Strike squads. They have the Warp Quake, where they can disrupt deep striking.
Okay.
So, anyway, that's my army.
All right. That's fantastic. And the Interceptors have teleport packs. That's a one-shot 30-inch teleportation without fail. Also, they have Psych Out grenades. Now, I was warned about Grey Knight's grenades.
Yeah.
So I looked them up, and I don't think they're that bad. Psych Out grenades do what? Reduce you to Initiative 1, something like that?
Yeah, it's in the...
All right, so Psych Out grenades only reduce Psychers to Initiative grenades, and only in the turn those guys assault?
Yeah, in the turn that the assaulted...
Well, that doesn't hurt me at all,
yeah,
because all my Psychers are low Initiative anyway. All right, well, I guess that just psyched me out for no reason. All right, so here's what I'm bringing. I'm bringing the 2 Tervagons. I'm bringing a unit of Zoanthropes. They are Psychers. And I'm bringing a Venomthrope brood, for which I'll have to use my handy-dandy stand-in figures, my proxies. I'm bringing 3 units of 30 Ormagants, and basically the Ormagants fear nothing except for the Purifiers and the Dread Knight. So that's going to be a problem. Brood of Gene Stealers. Now they have Infiltrate. So does that mean I can do, because I want to do Outflank. Is that such a thing?
Yeah.
Outflank? Okay.
Yeah, you just roll.
All right, and a Tyrannifex and a Trigon Prime. So my Synapse web is pretty thin. I didn't have any warriors, and even then with all the force weapons, warriors would just be toast, and they're not very good anyway. And yeah, so what I really needed was Shrikes. Shrikes would be fantastic. I have gargoyles to back them up, but the fact is I physically don't have the models made up. In fact, for the Fungus Nids here, which by the way, this army is out of control already. It's like, it's going to be 5,000 points in a couple of weeks. And it has, what I have coming are 3 more Hive Guard, bringing those back up to 6, 3 more Zoanthropes, bringing those back up to 6, 3 to 6 Venomthropes, I think it's 6, all fine cast, I might add. And, oh, and that matters with the Zoanthropes because they tend to fall over. And, hold on, there's more. I can't remember right now. We're boosting the Chervagons back up to 2 each, adding in Shrikes, and it's just out of hand. Oh, and this bad boy, did I say I had a Tyrannifex? This is what I'm using for that. Kablam. Oh. Forge World Barbed Hierodule. It's on the right base. It's on a Vulk base. Doesn't look out of place. And this is really a great figure for a Tyrannifex. If you can swing it, because it has this little thing on its back, like a gun, and that makes a great version of whatever it is he's shooting. So we'll see. My prediction is I'm going to get torn to shreds, just because this is a game of rock, paper, scissors, where if Rob matches up the right thing to the right problem, the right answer to the right question, so to speak, I'm going to be wiped out. But the reverse is true too. If I match up the right units to the right things in his army, then it's going to be pretty sad. And really, he doesn't have a lot of bodies on the board. 10, 20, 30, 40, 42 plus vehicles. And I'm bringing, not including the stuff that's going to be spawned by the Chervagons. Well, if you average that, 40 bodies are going to come out of there. It's at least 150. So it's a 3-to-1 game. And we'll see what happens. All right, so here's what Warpquake does.
So yeah, so Warpquake is used by the Interceptor squads and by your standard Grey Knight squads. Okay. What it's going to do is the power is used at the start of the Grey Knight player's movement phase. It lasts until the following movement phase of the Grey Knight player. Okay. If the test is successful, all enemy teleport homers and other items of war gear that prevent deep strike scatter are useless, and those cease to function while they're within 12 inches of a squad that has cast that power. Furthermore, if any unit is deploying by deep strike within 12 inches of the squad, after scattering, they will automatically suffer a deep strike mishap. So. Oh wow. So if you've got deep striking units, if they end up within 12 inches, they're going to suffer a mishap.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough to get around that. Yeah. All right. During the game, you'll notice we're using BTP's commemorative limited edition 1246 templates. And I just love these things. Don't leave home without them. Rob's got one too. Yay! And it's commemorative. It's commemorating the game I played with Jordan, and the run is limited to 10,000. That's right. So we're only going to do 10,000 and not one template more. How many do you think we've gone through so far? 20? 30 maybe?
Probably 30.
Yeah. So only 9,970 approximately left. So act now while supplies last. Okay, let's take a look at our table and figure out what's what. This is a remote outpost on a windswept world. When you're setting up terrain, you have to consider a narrative element, like who lives here? Why are things in this certain location? So what I'm imagining here is this is a landing pad, and then these are like mercenary scrappers who, kind of like an intergalactic shop. And so we've got some vehicles that have just been kind of set here on the sides, some supplies, a vehicle that moves things around, like this little Walker Heister type of thing. And by the way, I just love this figure. I picked that up at a toy store. So that's how the mercenary guys drive around. For whatever reason, they probably abandoned the outpost, maybe imminent Tyrannid attack. And there's something that the Grey Knights need here to further their goals. And in fact, we've decided to use objective markers. This is another item published by Greenman Designs. And originally it was like a shaken marker, but I've repurposed them to be a objective marker because I just like their shape and color, and they make sense to me. So anyway, back to the terrain. It's what you see is what you get. Getting up this level here, we just do a difficult terrain test typically. So what happens if a guy is standing right here, right next to the edge, and he rolls a 5, he actually makes it 5 inches on here. You don't measure up. The difficult terrain test is what accounts for the space going up and down there. This is area terrain, which is cover 4+, but also some actual what you see is what you get, like getting up here. Same thing for this, same thing for that, same thing for that, and same thing for this as well. And the reason that I'm mentioning that is Tyranids have a lurk special rule, which means they go back to area terrain, and I think that's a lot of fun. If there's no area terrain on the board, they just stay there, which is actually better for me in a lot of ways, unless of course I put objectives in the area terrain, which I am going to do most likely. So let's roll for number of objectives. If Rob will throw a dice down, it's D3 plus 2 objectives. So that's 2 plus 2. We only need 4 of these. And then let's roll off for who can place the objective first. Tyrannid's got a 5, Grey Knights with a 6. So Rob will place our first objective. We did decide, by the way, to play this scenario beforehand. I'm selfishly motivated because I think Tyranids with Tervagons do better in objective-based missions. And Grey Knights, if anything, are weak in objective-based missions. So Rob's got his work cut out for him. And for those of you not familiar with the scenario, you have to place objectives in the middle of the board, meaning not within 12 inches of the edge. So that only leaves like a center rectangle like this to put them in. And they can't be more than 12 inches. They can't be within 12 inches of another objective. All right. And here comes the second one. I'm a fan of putting one right in the middle, but I think we're going to end up with quads here. And since we don't know who's deploying where, we're going to want to keep them. All right, second objective is down right there. Pull back, give you a panoramic of the battlefield. Oh, and by the way, I can't get enough of this terrain. All right, that's the third one, and now fourth. This fairly well limits where I can put this. I could put it here in the middle, for example, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it right here. That should be a very interesting location. And remember, you can take an objective if you're within 3 inches. So when you're placing them, you have to consider that. So for example, by placing this objective here, guys can come in and claim that from either side, really. And not quite the same thing here. You could have a unit back here, you know, hiding, right? But still be within 3 inches. If I have a lurk result, I could be within 3 inches even inside of this terrain. So that's something that I need to consider. So effectively you have 2 of them out of area terrain and 2 of them in area terrain because we decided this would be but see, what is this here? That's probably nothing. So it's 3 out and 1 in. So I have to be very careful with that with my Synapse Web vis-a-vis the lurk result. All right. So what did we decide for deployment? Dawn of War?
Yeah, we're running Dawn of War.
Okay, great. And that's a little harder on Tyranids because it means they got to slug it from not from being deployed here and out or in a quarter and out, but they have to, you know, they have to come on from the board edge. But quite frankly, with the speed that I have and the the durability, that's usually not been a problem. But before we get started, I should say I only have one deep striking item, and that's the zoanthropes. They're going to be in a spore pod. You may notice that I have several spore pods now, and 2 more are coming. Like I said, the fungus nids are going to get out of control really fast. So I have the zoanthropes coming in, and really their thing is just to provide synapse and also to show up unexpectedly and zap something for no apparent reason. And then whatever they do beyond that is just bonus material. Oh, and I am going to outflank the gene stealers. Alright, so here's my things not on the board to start. Like I said, the zoanthropes and a unit of 6 gene stealers with a broodlord. I'd like to point out this is the broodlord from Space Hulk, which is quite a nice feature. And so let's roll for choose deployment zone and deploy first. Tyranids with a 2, Grey Knights with a 5. So what's it going to be, Rob?
I'm actually going to just stay on the side that we deployed on. So
okay, sounds good. Now, is that for convenience, or is there actually a reason?
Mostly convenience, but I don't really want to have a setup where I have one of my objectives near area terrain, especially where your guys take such good advantage of cover.
Okay.
I would prefer not to let you do that.
All right. As for me, I usually just, I'm like, well, I'm standing over here. I don't know what's going on. And, all right, let's get started. So that means I deploy first. No, you deploy first. My bad.
In Dawn of War, it's 2 troops, up to 2 troops, and 1 HQ
right.
Go on the board at first. So.
And apparently a transport counts as a troop choice as well.
Does it now?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Oh, you know what? Let's, because this came up in an earlier battle report. If you go to page 93 of the rule book, it's not in the rules. No, go ahead, look it up. It's under the, like the illustration of the thing. It says, so-and-so deploys a unit, like a tac squad and a rhino. This counts as his 2 troops choices. So there's that. Anyway, that's where we're getting that, and if we're wrong, then oh well. I don't mind if you want to do it the other way. I have absolutely no objections to that. All right, here's initial deployment. We've got Grandmaster, Terminators in a Land Raider, Land Raider Redeemer to be precise, and 2 units each of 30 Ormagots, 1 mass here, another mass here, with a Tervagon as an HQ. So we have to remember this is the HQ one, because the other one is a troop's choice. And we're ready to steal the initiative. That's the Tyranids doing that. They do not, so we're on to Grey Knights, turn 1, top of the first.
Grandmaster thing.
Okay, Grandmaster thing,
So
what is that?
I
number of units that get powers?
Yeah,
okay, go
so
ahead.
We're going to get cocked. So 3.
3, fantastic.
And I'm going to, in this case, I'm actually going to take counterattack.
Okay,
So,
and what is that?
Just means that if they're charged, they count as being charged. I mean, count as
Oh,
charging.
okay,
So
got it.
They test the leadership test. If they pass it, they get the charge bonus too.
Right,
So.
but that's 3 units.
3
so
units,
which 3
I gotta
units are going to
designate.
get it?
So I'm actually going to give it to my Purifier Squad,
Okay,
my regular Grey Knights,
all right,
and my Interceptors.
okay,
So all 3 troops.
right. And how many, you have 3, I'm seeing 3 troops choices
Yeah,
on
you
here.
have a squad that's split, and then 1 over here.
Okay, so you have 4 scoring units, basically.
No.
Is that right?
No, only 3.
3.
1 and 2 and 3. These
Right,
are
the Grey
fast
Knights.
attack, and these are not a troop's choice. They're elite.
Okay, got it. Fantastic.
Okay.
Grey Knights, turn 1, movement phase. What happened?
We brought our dreadnought up to a good firing position up here.
That's awesome.
Can try and get his 5.
Here's your regular Grey Knights, right?
Regular unit just hanging out over here.
Interceptors.
Interceptors being shielded right now. Storm Raven moved up. It's going to try and take some shots in a minute. Our friend the Dread Knight tried to move up and provide fire support. And our Purifiers hanging out over here on the flank.
Okay, and those are the guys I don't like. I got to get rid of those guys. Okay, fantastic. What's next? I'm ready.
Got to do some shooting and some psychic powers. First things first. Let's do some shooting.